Okay, welcome to the course. Let's get started directly straight into it without wasting any time. We're going to be talking about breaches in this video. Okay, so what's a breach to you? When you hear a breach, whether you're doing my MPA course, if you've already done it, or if you're going to do it, I use this word breach all the time, and I say, oh, the market breached this area, right? For example, like that. It's like, oh, it breached that area, like, and it might be concerning, like, what do you mean by breach? And how do you know what's a breach? For example, what if I put my line right there? Is this considered a breach or not breach? So this little details we're going to be covering, because for some people this can be confusing, and for some people it may not be confusing. So first of all, a breach is basically whenever something strong gets broken. Okay, so imagine it this way: the markets are going up. Okay, once they're going up, here they pull back. Okay, always ask yourself this question: why is something pulling back? That means there's a wall here. There's a strong wall here that stops a train from going at full speed. Okay, now notice, even if you look on the left corner of my screen and I say, you see that how 3 candles are holding there, going up, holding, and then goes through it. Okay, it might be considered that's a breach also. Now, it's not, that isn't actually a breach, but we'll go into the details of that later. But what we're looking for is a wall that's broken. Okay, that's what a breach basically means: a wall that is broken. So let's clear the screen here again. Okay, so take a look at this area here. The prices are coming down, they stop. They stop, they stop, they stop, they stop, boom. Breach. Okay? Now, if you're considering, hey, what about this area, Naveen? You see that little tiny piece that comes out right there? Is that a breach? The answer is no. A breach literally clears through that wall. Okay? That's a breach. So a breach is something like this. You see, once it's broken, how it's officially broken it? That's a breach. Okay? So same thing here. Boom, boom, boom. Not that little red candle there, but the entire next part is like, okay, it's finally been breached, that area. Okay? You want to try to get away from the exact detail nonsense, because that's not going to give you all the answer. What we're trying to understand is, what's the flow of the market doing? Okay? Let's take a look at some more pieces here. Let's go back a little bit. Okay, here we are. So for the buyer side, here we come. Buyers are going up very, 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 very hard. Get up to here, boom, it gets smacked down. Now, imagine if you're driving your car here. Notice all these wicks and tails. You're driving your car, you slow down, there's a little traffic. You're driving your car, slow down, little traffic. Driving your car, slow down, little traffic. Driving your car. Now, your whole driving that you're doing here, it's just to slow down everything, but you never stop and turn around. When you stop and turn around, that means either there's a traffic jam, either there's an accident on the road, or there's something there that makes you stop and change direction. That's a wall. That's a wall. You're driving again and you get to the same conclusion again. You're in this area constantly. So you're not looking for one little, I came out there a little bit for 10 seconds. No. You want to be out there completely. That is a breach. And saying, enough of that area. I finally got a way around the traffic jam, or the police officer, or that clog that was in on the road. I found a way around it, and I'm clear from that area. I don't have to worry about it again. Make sense? So when we're looking at this area as well, it's like, okay, here's an area holding. You're like, whoa, I was driving, this way, and then the market held me, and I came all the way back down, and then I broke free. But as soon as I broke free, before the candles even closed, I came right back down. So tell me, were you able to cross that area? It's almost like you found a way to get around the road, and you went through it, and then the police catches you and says, hey, get back in line. It's almost like you're standing in line at an amusement park or something like that, waiting to get your tickets, and you can't find a way to get in front of the line, and then you finally find a way, but then you get caught. That's what this means. So this isn't a breach yet. This isn't a breach yet. Just because a candle pops out doesn't mean it's a breach yet, because we need it to be clear that it's out. Okay? All right. So now, a question that might be lingering in your minds, because, I'm pretty much starting to understand what kind of questions you guys have. A question that might be lingering in your mind is like, well, Naveen, what if I was looking at this as I'm driving downwards and this area is holding? Isn't this a breach here? And the answer is yes, that is a breach. Okay? The mind might go into, yeah, but then it goes back up immediately. So how can that be a breach? At that state, at that moment, it is a breach. Okay? Without trying to get confused and think way too much information, that is a breach. Okay? Let me move it, sorry. Boom, boom. That's a breach. You don't know the future at that moment. Okay? The future can turn, and that's fine. But for the sake of what is a breach, that's the breach. And that's correct if that's the mentality you had. That, oh, didn't it break through? Yes, it did. That's a breach. Okay? The fact that he comes back later on, that's a whole different educational part. Okay, we'll go over that into the MPA course, or you've probably already understood what that means by now. But that's an official break of the market. It's a breach. Okay, moving forward. Let's take a look at some more examples. Let me go on to, let's say, USD CAD, for example. Let's just change any random time frame. Let's say I go into the weekly. It doesn't matter what time frame you're on. The concepts are the same. Give it a second. Let it load up. Boom, here we go. And let's choose any random time. Here we are. So I'm going to clear this up. Markets are moving. Where's my marker? Markets are moving upwards. They reach an area where they have to halt. They come back, halt, they come back, and then they start going downwards. But down, 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 come back up, down again, come back up. The breach officially happens there as it starts to go up. Okay, that's the breach. Okay, let's take a look at this area here. How about this? Is that a breach? Absolutely, that's a breach. Okay, you might call this a probe according to your education on the Mastering Price Action course, but up until then, that's a breach that says you have crossed the barrier that you had. So now let's get into a question about, well, what's a barrier? How do I know if I'm supposed to say what's a breach and what's a barrier and stuff like that? What about this little thing here? Let me draw it. What about this little thing? Is that a barrier? Or is this whole thing a barrier? Or is it just this area here? That's a barrier. Well, it depends on how much data you're trying to look at. Okay, if you're looking at data that considers, that you, for example, that you're looking at it like this. Let me go to change the time frame. If you're looking at all this data, then your eye zone of marking it is here. But let's say you're a 4-hour trader. If you're on the 4-hour chart, do you see that same red lines that I drew earlier? No. For you, as a 4-hour trader, these are your breaches that you keep breaking through and getting higher and higher and all that stuff. These are your breaches. Okay, not that last one, but these are your breaches that you're doing. Okay, does that make sense? So do not confuse yourself with the if and but and if and but. It will make sense as you go through it piece by piece. If you try to bring in so much information, what's going to happen is you're going to get confused. Here's the thing. The markets are going upwards. Okay, and then if you are doing some sells on a lower time frame for, okay, give me some pullback, support resistance sell, all these sells, the person who says I cannot sell, the market's in an upward motion, what's going to happen is the person's never going to actually trade. Okay, you're looking for a sell to trade, but then the trend says up, I can't do the sell. While the trend is getting ready to go upwards and upwards and upwards, oh, I can't buy because it's a double top. Oh, I can't buy because there's a supply right here. Oh, I can't buy because blah, 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 blah reason. So when do you actually bloody trade? When are you ever going to trade? So I want you to get this through your head, okay? As strongly as I'm going to voice this out. is do your best that you can to stick to what you see in the direction that you're going. Do not overcomplicate the data. Okay, and in the time frame part of your course, we will talk about how much data is necessary. Okay, if you haven't gone through it in the MPA course yet, it will come to you soon. If you already have, you probably know already what I'm talking about. Okay, so how much data do you need will come up in there. Okay, so let's take a look at some more breaches because we need to do some more examples. Here we have the markets going down. They pull back a bit. Boom, and from this area when they pulled back, there's a line there. Now, do you need to be exact? Right there. No, because you don't want just a little clip out of it either. Like, oh, that's my line, and then the moment this thing comes out, oh, that's a breach. No. So if that's a no, then you don't want to be so precise saying, that's a breach. No. You want to know what a breach is. That's a breach. We're out of it completely. Makes sense? So we want to keep track of this word. When I say breaches in the industry or in our courses, or when you hear about the word breaches in the industry, now you have an idea of what that word breach means. It's an official break of an area. Okay? Now, let's get on to the next video.